Mhm.
Hello, welcome. Is my my microphone is a bit high. Hello, welcome for another Café Rolistes, and today we're doing one of my favorite things, which is having a guest from the other side of the world, from Southeast Asia, and one thing which is less my favorite, which is talk about a 5th edition D&D setting. But I'm sure Jack here will convince me to purchase Monsoon. Jack, could you introduce yourself briefly and Blue Belu Studio?
Hi, thank you, Caleb. I'm Jack from Belu Studios, situated in Myanmar, and I work as one of the floor keepers as well as the marketing guy for the group. And we this is our first ever campaign setting that we are producing, but it's a project that has been 20 years in the making. Actually, is basically a continent setting full of swashbuckling adventures, ancient weapons, and mystical magical moons. And of course, lastly, our biggest feature would be the anthropomorphic anthropomorphic ancestries called anima that the players can play as.
Great. So, Blue Belu Games. I was having a look at your website. You're doing a bunch of things. So, did you
Oh yeah.
did you start with board games, with children's book? How did all of that started?
Well, I mean, the studio started because when the team members we all met together in a D&D game. Like I believe this is how most indie studios starts as well. And we started with a board game because as a person, loves Myanmar history a lot, and I also love to travel. And of course, my one of our partners is is a full board game geek, and you can already see in the background with all the board games we have. So we started to do a board game together, which is much more simpler for us to produce. And again, it's something that we love to play with. And that's how we started with Began Journey. And then after that, we wanted to work on a D&D campaign setting, a 5e campaign setting. And so we started working like 2 years ago on the camping setting. However, in the meantime, we also have a book that we write about one of our iconic characters from our campaign, and of course that's Touche Tales, the book that you will already see on our website as well. And lastly, of course, this is Monsoon, and which is our upcoming campaign setting that is hopefully coming soon to crowdfunding on September.
So, is Bag and Journey, which is your board game, Touche Tales,
Mhm.
and Monsoon all set in a shared universe of some sort?
No, actually, Began Journey is something more grounded in reality. It's more for family gameplay where they can travel to Began. It's a very famous city in Myanmar. It's actually UNESCO protected now, and it's full of these. It has over, if I remember correctly, over 19,000 pagodas in one town alone, and it's one of the biggest tourist destination in Myanmar, and we basically emulate that experience in the board game. And for Batu's Tales and of course Moonsoon are in the shared universe. Both of them are set on this continent called Tuj, and you may even see it on our Twitter somewhere that we have a map that is a map of Tuj drawn by Francesca, and it's very similar to the shape of the country of Myanmar, actually.
So, you mentioned the person who drew the map. Is that the same person who drew the rest of the art? Because I must say, the art of your game, all your games, the cover, the book cover, and the upcoming 5e setting look very exciting.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment coming from you. Thank you. Uh, Now actually our team is composed of over 30 contributors from all around the world.
Wow.
Our core team is mostly Burmese, and of course Kevin Line is one of our core in-house artists. And but we have over 30 writers and artists contributing, and Francesca is one of the earliest ones who help us with the map. Even before the project started, actually, the map was drawn as part of the campaign, and that we were playing. And later on, it became the basis for our campaign setting now.
And so this camping setting, it doesn't, well, unless I'm wrong, is it available yet? It doesn't seem to be. So what's the plan with it?
Well, we want to we have been working on this for 2 years now, as I said before, and it will be coming to a crowdfunding platform in September, and it we are actually around 80% complete. We have all the sub ancestry, all the ancestries, subclasses, spells, and modules, like modular systems that we tweak for 5e, and of course original spells and weapons and monsters for the setting itself. And we're almost finished, and all the arts you can already see on Twitter page at Moonsoon Tuj. It will be coming to crowdfunding in September.
Great. I will include a link as soon as it's available in the description of the video,
Yes.
and when this comes out in audio. And I already recommended you. I hope I'm crossing finger. So you can be interviewed by the RPG Academy, where they got a lot of 5e enthusiasts, and Tom Cantwell
Wow.
there is much more of a
Here.
D&D
Yeah.
player than I am. I see also that you have in your product overview a moon deck. I know people are quite excited with decks of cards of all sorts. What is the
Mhm.
moon deck?
Okay, to explain the moon deck, right? For a little bit of lore exposition. So in Moonsoon, this world of yore, right? In Moonsoon, there are 12 moons that basically govern everything about magic, creation of the world itself, and even the mentality of the residents of the world. And these moons ranges from Earth, which is the moon of mineral, Kra, the moon of vegetal, and to number 12, which is Gilgar, the moon of discord. And the the idea of the moon deck is to emulate how the moons reflect in the playable in the PCs.
Mm-hmm.
Mechanically speaking, it's basically an inspiration system where we take the load off the dungeon master, who has to wait for role play prompts from the players, and then have to mark inspiration. Basically, we want to take that load off of the DM. So every time the session starts, the DM the dungeon master can shuffle the deck of moons, and then give it out to each of the players. And on each card is a minor role-playing prompt and a major role-playing prompt. So basically, this already encouraged players to engage in the game more than just coming in for hack and slash or just trying to go up. But with this system, for minor role play prompt, you can get a minor bonus like a +1 to your next row. Or for the major prompt, like for example, uh, for the moon of vegetal crawl, right? If a player is influenced by can watch something decay and rot for 1 hour, basically contemplating the essence of the moon, right? And if you do that, you are resistant to necrotic damage for 24 hours. So it's basically an addition to the inspiration system that D&D 5e already has, and we build upon that.
That sounds awesome. I really like the idea of any mechanism which encourages you to go further and have idea which flesh out your what you do with your characters in terms of roleplay. Are there other significant changes you made? House, well, not house, but I guess horse rules, which now are becoming official in your book, to the 5e system that's gonna be in the players or the game masters guide.
We don't necessarily want the dungeon masters to have to like adapt to a whole new system
Mm-hmm.
when they play 5e, because the idea of Moonstone is for players to just be able to pick up and play, right? So we do have additional systems like alliances, the clan system, where players can get added benefits depending on the clan allegiance that they have in the world. And of course, the moon system, the moon deck system, where they get extra inspiration. But those are something that you can add to your game, not something that subtracts from the core gameplay itself. So if you don't want to do it, it's okay. You can start by going into the setting vanilla 5e, and then of course you can add it in more.
So you mentioned Vanilla 5e, which is well, inspired, influenced by Western European culture. Sometimes I love the interaction I have with the RPGC people, but
Mhm.
and how they point out. I mean, any country, it's always interesting when they point out the
Mhm.
tropes and things which are leaning too much in a way. As a European, I find it interesting how D&D scene as European, why it's so fantasy and so far and so commercial in
Yeah.
a way that it's not really related to European history. But
Yeah.
what about in Monsoon? What are the things which you would point at as what you think are meaningful
Mhm.
influences from the culture which is your own
Mhm.
compared to what is
Uh,
going on? What is different from Vanilla 5e actually?
okay. Setting wise, Moonsoon is definitely based on on cultures that are really touched by TTRPGs. I mean, I can shout out to Sinauna, who which is one of the breakthroughs for Filipino culture to be featured in TTRPGs as a mainstream now. And for us, it's we you may as you may have already noticed, I am a very big history geek. I love folk tales. I love bedtime stories, which my mom used to tell me when I was a kid, and also all of our the other partners in the group are have their own fondness of Myanmar, and we bring that together into this game, this setting where which is, how do I put it? Totally different from what I've ever seen before. And I play, as you said before, I also like to play other RPGs in D&D. And one of the things I feel that I feel uh, sometimes I feel like I'm in a Skyrim clone all the time, which is I'm not offending any of the great DMs that helped me play, of course, but and I do want to have something that's more closer to what I've experienced, what we have known all our lives, right? And the idea in Moonsoon is that you can definitely see how the family units or the clans' allegiances are built on the values that we have in our own society, and this is also apparent in how the campaign is structured. We have an introduction campaign called the Claws of Ewanock, name still to be determined, uh, where you can actually go on exploration about this ancient weapon in ancient ruins that definitely calls out to what we have in our legends, what we have in our myths, and I believe that is definitely something that is sorely needed in the RPG scene. Is it's not about just representing a different culture. It's also about widening the experience of playing TTRPGs. And for me, TTRPGs has always been about exploring the new frontiers, be it sci-fi or fantasy. And I think I really wish that Moonsoon contributes to that.
Yeah, there's a big selfish side of me when I encourage diversity is because as a consumer, I want this widening of what is on offer, those different experiences that I can
Yeah.
have through my entertainment, not only in role-playing games, but movies and TV shows and so on. So I think it's a big win for everyone when we have people from all around the world
Hmm.
who create their settings and propose their experience and offer us this type of window on their experience, beliefs, and interests. So that's
Yeah.
really amazing.
And yeah, and I mean, I love playing Alice and a 250-year-old elf that is still searching for the meaning of life. But at the same time, I also love playing a capybara who can mimic a snake and crawl on the ground. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I'm starting to become more of a game designer myself. At the
Mhm.
moment, I'm translating games, one-page games from English to French to make them available to a wider audience. And I realize
Yeah.
now that I've got an appetite for also telling my part of the story, which is, oh, you're white and Western European, so your story is all over the place. No, not really, because that's not that's not the specifics of where I grew up, which
Mhm.
is a more complicated thing because it's a culture which was under the rule of a dominating culture, or which had its own
Mhm.
language erased, and and culture is not necessarily stuff in museums and so on. It's also things like yeah, I'm planning on doing something about a crime novels and crime investigations in the 1950s, which is something typical from the part of Belgium where I was with. Anyway, but it's it's really nice to the idea that you do stuff and you engage. You like, hey, that's my thing, and I'd like to share it with people. Uh, are there any myth creatures or part of the story which are especially personal to you, or that you are especially excited to share with a wider audience?
Um, that would be the I think the most recognizable ones would be the Belus. Uh, and just want to touch the point you touched before. You mentioned about how we wish to broaden the horizons of TTRPG as an what options that are on the table, right? And the idea of fighting an ogre is cool, but what if you have different type of creatures that represents, for example, the theme of nature versus nurture. Because in our game we have the Belus, which are these ancient guardian-like race of creatures, and they have two distance groups. One is the how would I put it? In Burmese, we call it the fangs that are curl out, uh, which are the red blues, and there are the ones who have their fangs curled in, and they basically consume flowers rather than the flesh of people. And the idea is that we we don't want something to be just dissimilarly grouped in that. Uh, because oh yeah, Baloo's because you're a Baloo, you have to be an evil creature, right? We want it to be that every monster that we've seen, like for example, the Baloos are this huge mythological figure in Myanmar, not just Myanmar, in a lot of Southeast Asian countries as well. And there's always been this rampaging ogres, but we want to tell more stories with them. It's and I personally wanted to explore through hunters or even their own stories that the DMs would write about with these monsters. So the Baloo, I would say, would be the most uh, personal monster that I have in there, and it it took me quite a while to fully explore the myths and books about these monsters because they're so rooted in our folklore that we cannot distance from it. But at the same time, it has to be something that appeals to a large culture as well. And I remember going to my grandmother and asking for bad time stories about, okay, you mentioned this to me one time before. Can you tell it to me again? I think I spent like a good 4 hours just sitting beside her, listening to her go on about all these beautiful mythologies about Belu princesses who cares about children, and this raging guardian Belu that comes to the town, comes to destroy the city because the people in the city are corrupt. So there are very and I just noticed that gaming is one of the most personal experience you can give for these mythology, for this history, for this culture to be represented, and you get to engage with them in like no other medium could. And as a TTRPG, you actually get to create your own stories as well. And I think that's very beautiful to have from just a monster in a game.
In terms of relationship to monsters, does that mean that maybe the campaign or the system itself, I don't know, the way you reward actions will be leaning slightly less towards kill, level up kind of approaches?
This is also I don't I have nothing against that kind of approach in terms of gameplay. However, for me personally, and for also because as I said before, we met when we were playing on this campaign together. So for us, we feel that just killing to advance a character robs the experience. This is our personal opinion, and we always also as a personally as a dungeon master, I always want to have uh, combat avoidance uh, methods, combat
Uh-huh.
avoid methods for my players, and this is reflected in the way we design the system, the clans, and how the setting is set up for players to explore and engage. There's yes, there are sides that you can consider good and evil, but to answer it fully, I can talk about one of the Asuras, right?
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
in our world, the Asuras are basically the deity gods of each moon, and um, and each of the Asura has three aspects of them, and you cannot tell whether it's good or bad. For example, the in the Moon of Discord, Gilgar, it's all about chaos and ending, but at the same time, it's also about new beginnings. So you cannot say that God is either good or bad. It's has a purpose to be existing, and that's is reflected in how we design the rest of the game as well. You don't just kill and fight. Gaming, we don't experience life that way. We experience life in a way that we engage socially, we engage peacefully, and of course, we engage to have diversity as well, right? So, you can see that in our campaign. You can see how we don't want just people to go, hey, go there and kill the monster. There are more stories behind that monster, and we encourage dungeon masters and game masters of other RPGs to, hey, yeah, there's a monster like this here, but there are more stories to it than just being chaotic good or chaotic evil or lawful evil.
So your Kickstarter is upcoming. Does that mean that you're gonna release a? Because I've noticed that's often the case, a quick start short version for people to have a taste of Monsoon before as part of the Kickstarter campaign.
We do have the first episode of the introduction campaign. that is prepared for a quick start. However, we actually have 3 scenarios that players can play already in our drive-through RPG. I think I can set up a link. I can send a link afterwards
Yep,
in
I
the
will include
description.
it in the description.
Yeah, and you can already experience what kind of monsters, what kind of like society the setting has. And we do plan to release a few iconic characters so that the players can pick up and play already. You can already see some of them in our Twitter page where we have the Otacon Wizard, the blue ring octopus with the
It's
with
su-
a
it's superb. They look just amazing. This anthropomorphic octopus. I love them.
oh yeah, thank you. She's my personal favorite. Her name is Izzy, and I just love her because she channels the moons to power her spells, but at the same time she always go bloop bloop because she has multiple arms and she can drink potions and fight at the same time. So yeah, I really
That's
love.
convenient.
Uh, Yes, I mean you don't have to do the bonus action house rule for drinking potions anymore because play the Otacon and you can do that already officially. So yeah, and there's capybaras. There's we have Booba, which is the buffalo accessories, and we have the Froins who are totally in tune with the ground, the magic of mineral and earth. And of course, lastly, we have the very stout and boastful groups, which are the wild boars race. Yeah.
So some of those adventures, I will include the link in the descriptions. Could you give the pitch for one without spoiling anything, so to get people excited, so they go straight away, download them, and
All
play them?
right. Okay. So we do have a level 4 adventure that is completely balanced for 4 players that you can just pick up and play, and it's oh oh wow the I'm not sure if you can hear through my audio. The We have the iron pot banging already. Excuse us, but oh yeah. Well, we are currently going through a bit of a rough time, as I will put it. And one of the ways we demonstrate is banging pots at 8 p.m. Yeah, to show that we are against our current, you know, I will not put it into words on the stream. Sorry. But yes, the bad people.
My sympathy. I don't know what. I don't have anything more meaningful to say, but yeah, I just hope your
Yeah,
movement with your struggle with achieve progress.
I mean, we are still holding on. I mean, we are resilient people. And yeah, so back to the adventure
Yeah.
from restart. So we currently have so for this adventure, a small village has been attacked, ravaged by by a carnivorous predator called the shikaris. The shikaris are have the ability to go invisible within jungle, and and yes, they are the apex predator of the jungle, but they've never blatantly attacked a village before. Now, this monster has killed numerous people from the village already, and the village is desperately looking for help. And you, brave adventurers, will explore the dense jungles of Tuj and hopefully bring the monster down. But there are more mysteries behind it. Why are these creatures attacking so suddenly? Why are they so thirsty for blood?
Exciting. Uh, so those are already available. Did you get any feedback yet from players and dungeon masters from the US or Western Europe who played
Uh,
them?
we have over I believe over 100 downloads so far, and from Drive Through RPG, and I've tested out with my table as well as at the cafes in Yangon, and the feedback has been so far from the local Myanmar people, and it's all is my players have always said that have stated that it's fast paced. It's very exploration focused. It has this Indiana Jones vibes, but at the same time uh, uh, has a more lighthearted feel of the Uncharted series in a sense. But you're not somebody from the faraway land. You are the people of this land fighting for themselves, and they enjoyed that aspect of it. And there's so many little Easter eggs in how the village is structured, and how the Shikaris have a basis in Myanmar's own Bengal tigers, who has a very close relationship with the village society structure in Myanmar as well. So yeah, and from what we have so far from outside of Myanmar, they all most of them find the little cultural tidbits to be fascinating, like the small little water stands that we have outside of our village, which is a custom for worried travelers, and the villagers just do it out of goodwill. And this is something that is actually existing in real life as well. And if you go to a village in Myanmar, you will always find a water stand just outside of the village and nearly in front of every house, because we believe that everybody who's traveling in the on foot deserves to have a drink, and this is our generosity. So yeah, you can also this and there are multiple other tidbits of cultural elements that you can see in there as well.
So this month I'm gonna release an interview I made with a novelist called Danny Ware, and
Mm-hmm.
she started out by playing Cyberpunk, and then she started releasing novels inspired by her campaign of Cyberpunk. And you already have two tales here. Do you plan to release more novels set in that world and sort of have them grow alongside the role-playing game and the novels?
We would love to be honest.
Is it the
But
new
uh,
Dragonlance?
we I personally want to. There are so many stories that we can pull from the 3-year campaign that we played so far in Tuj, in Moonsoon. And however, of course, we already are focusing all of our efforts on getting the campaign out. Getting the setting out, getting the stretch goals reached, as well as, of course, to provide support for the setting as we move forward. So it's not in the works yet, but you have inspired us to think about it.
I'm charging for my ideas. Speaking of ideas, do you have any plans, maybe contacts already for maybe some actual play streams to take place as part of your Kickstarter campaign?
Currently, we our a lot of our friends from RPG SEA has been helpful, and we are talking to many of the content creators, as well as the players, to join us on playtests and actual plays. But everything is still in the works. Things are not as I mentioned in the pre-interview before. Things are not as easy to work around these days, but we are trying, and hopefully we will have those up in the coming 2 weeks before the Kickstarter launch.
So did you say that will include playtest, maybe online, that people can join then to
Yes,
experience the game?
uh, we are planning for those kind of actual play streams. Yes.
Oh, okay, but okay, that's the stream. But will there be also maybe opportunities for individuals to join demonstrations of the game as players?
Mm. Actually, you know what? You can definitely charge for your ideas now.
You know, full disclosure, it's not happening yet, but I
This
might
is like
work
every
for
time like
I might work for TTRPG publishers soon for their promotional side, so I might end up
it's
charging
like
for
when you
stuff.
know when you're DMing and your players say something that you never thought before and it's so cool that you're just like, yeah, we were supposed to do that. And start writing it down in your notes.
You shouldn't yeah, you should just not like, well, this is among the things we are working on currently, and in the background you got your team panicked because they're like, what is he promising? We didn't work on that. We don't have the resources to pull that off.
Oh, they're gonna kill me.
No,
They're gonna kill me when
I'm
they see these
asking
things.
because with my own game,
Mm-hmm.
I found out that the best promotional tool was to have people play it, and then usually they become
It's
champions of
true,
the
yeah.
game rather than
We
tweet
ha-
and do social media and interviews.
true.
It's not as convincing.
We had a convention game back in January in session zero, and it's true. As you said before, like it's a whole different type of interaction that you can have with your audience. You know, the actual play is much more different, and you can definitely see. Of course, it was a virtual play because we cannot meet people in real life yet because of COVID. But even then, there's this engagement that you cannot have from a tweet. It's just pure fun, and yeah, I do wish that we can do that, and we will be trying to our best effort to have players be involved, sign up. We don't know yet. I would just say we don't know yet because, as I said before, I'm basically taking your ideas now, writing it down, and hopefully we can have that up.
I,
But I don't know
I'm gonna
yet.
give you more ideas because I'm just telling you what I'm doing with my own game. So Paris gonna do
Mm.
the life-saving magic of inventorying. People, please do check it out. We are doing a itch funding to make a Japanese translation at the moment while I'm working on the improved edition. But yeah, you were saying sadly that the demonstration are not in person, they're virtual. But on one hand, it's a bad thing. Like for me, I cannot run games for people in London. But on the good hand, I can run games. Like I signed up 4 sessions of my games at Gen Con, which I could not attend. I really don't have the
Yeah.
means to go there. And there's Origins as well. So my suggestion, and I can send you the link. I don't know if it's still open for Gen Con. For Origins, I think it still is. But these are cool convention to run demonstrations of the game. So I would highly recommend to do it. Oh, we are joined by Den Mother Place. Maybe she has a question that from the chat room because the chat room's been a bit shy. Unless there's something we did not talk about yet. You want us to cover, Jack?
Um. Well. Yeah. Actually, my main pitch has always been like, do you want to play as a capybara ranger? So that's already been covered.
That's
But yeah.
that's a good way to pitch. Yeah, mine is Marie Kondo for murder hobos. It's it's not as joyful.
That is the strangest combination of phrasing I've ever heard. Yes.
Right, right. Although it's spot on the experience
It is
I
spot on.
offer. So
It is spot on. The true. I
uh,
them other. I think I met. I had a very uh, good opportunity to meet them mother back in session zero. It's been, oh my god, it seems like a lifetime ago. I really wanted to play at our games, and actually the coup happened just the day after session zero because like the session zero we had the convention on Saturday night, and the coup happened on Monday morning.
oh
So I was like,
wow,
oh wow, okay. And internet was cut off for 1 month, and we're like, yeah, no more RPGs for me.
wow. Well, on the brighter side, I will point out to people not aware of it yet that Session Zero Con is nominated for a Diana Jones Award at Gen Con. So congratulations to all the Session Zero Con team, and I do hope we're gonna have another one
Yes.
this year. More people I cannot
Um,
speak, I cannot play with. without a pandemic because I sadly cannot travel to there. Uh, then mother play.
Yeah, I mean, that's is as you said before. Oh yeah, that mother has a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But finish. What were you saying? And then I will read the question.
I was just like, I was just, as you said, as you pointed out before, uh, yes, there is a detriment because you cannot play in real life anymore with the COVID going on these days. But without the opportunity of playing online, I would not get a chance to meet wonderful people like Rachel, Momotos,
Me?
who has, and of course you, and San, and Dan Mother, who I get to meet and play with at such a ZeroCon. And it was one of the greatest experiences I ever had as a TTRPG player. And it was my first convention as well for anything geek related actually. So yeah, that is a wonderful thing.
Great. And yeah, then mother had a question. She'd love to know how you started an independent game studio in Myanmar.
Wow. Yeah. It's oh, wow. It's been 3 years already. We I think it all started out as a game. I think because like one of our partners, John, has a bar called Mojo back in the day, and he's actually the one who's run Tuj as a campaign at the time, and I was there at the bar in the top floor where everybody's like drinking and having a good time downstairs, but on the second floor is people who are playing TTRPG. Because we don't have a cafe back then. We don't have like places to play, and I was there. That was the first time I actually experienced Dungeons and Dragon, and they were. I really was thinking like, are they having a business meeting on a Friday night at 10 p.m.? I was, and and then my friend Kai, who's the project manager for Belu, Kevin, who I met through Kai, thankfully, uh, and we just experienced this and like, wow, this is weird and this is really cool. And of course, the other two has so much more TTRPG experience than me, and they basically brought me into the culture. And then after playing the campaign and playing together on our own other campaigns for nearly 2 years, we feel like we want to create as well. We love creating. This is why we all want to dungeon master or game master. So, and then we started with Again Journey, which is something really manageable for us to do, and it became quite a I won't call it self brag and make it call it a hit, but it was well liked by a lot of the young families who are traveling in Myanmar, and after that we're like, you know what, let's go into Tuj, and we started writing Tuj tales. And I could just say all of this is because we play in a D&D campaign, and then we had the crazy idea to like, let's tell the world that what we've been playing so far.
So D&D camping, it's one of my hobby to ask all the D&D creator coming over on my show. What other games do you play, and would you consider creating other type of adventures for another game with another system, your own, or something else out there you find interesting, and you could make a
Uh,
hack or an expansion for?
um, can you repeat the question? There's like multiple things that went on in my head when you start mentioning it.
That
Can
that
you
that
repeat the question?
that's what happening in
Mhm.
my side also. Each time I ask a question, I process three things at once, so the question come out a bit confusing. So, uh, what other games and D&D do you play? Did you play, and would
Mhm.
you have in mind to create expansions or games which use something else
Mhm.
than D&D? Like then Mother, for instance, she's saying that she might run a demonstration of something. Call of Cthulhu, I think, or something for Chaosium at least.
Mhm.
Yeah, would you do Vampire the Masquerade or Call of Cthulhu or something else completely different that you are into?
My personal experience with other TTRPGs have been about like I play Powered by the Apocalypse games like Monster of the Week, and because I'm a big Stranger Things fan,
That would
and
be nice, Monster of the Week in Phuket. That would be a cool set of adventures.
it is we the campaign set in Myanmar as well, so we changed, of course, we removed the guns from the game, but we have all these like La Ligua, which is basically like a catapult that we have in for uh, that as childhood toys, and Monster of the Week, and also of course Mask, which is also another part by the Apocalypse system. And lastly, I've been really in love with Morkborg. Uh,
I still need to try
it's
Mork Pork. I love masks. Mork Pork I have not tried yet. I must.
Yeah, that's that mother is saying. Powered by the Apocalypse is really cool, and it's really a good system to introduce to new players to TTRPGs. I love D&D and all, of course. It's my go-to to have fun. But if I'm introducing the system to at least role playing to new players, I would rather go with something along the line of Monster of the Week, Mask, or even something a little bit more simpler. Like that, and that just the idea of just having to roll 2d6s and be able to play is it's really streamlined and cool. And we don't know that if we're going to touch those systems um, professionally, but personally I do recommend TTRPG players to try multiple different systems. Like Call of Cthulhu, I get an opportunity to watch Aki from RPG SEA, back in Session Zero Con play, and of course Dan Mother, who also plays a lot of different streams, and most other TTRPG systems in D&D has a very different, unique experience to offer. And it's your friend who's played Cyberpunk as well. I mean, Cyberpunk is a very different approach to action and problem solving in terms of TTRPG, which is very different from D&D, or as well as Vampire the Masquerade, which is this LA noir gothic beautiful setting with high deep complex role play moments, and it's so much to explore. So yeah,
It's
it's
about a
very cool.
widening. Like we were saying in the beginning,
Yeah,
you widen D&D with a new setting, and then
mm-hmm.
you widen eventually with other types
This
of
is
game.
that's true. Yeah, I mean it's good to play in the Forgotten Realms, but there's so many worlds to explore.
So we are close to the 1 hour mark. I will do my self promo. So first of all, everything we mentioned, I will include links in the description of the episode, including the episode I recorded at Session Zero Con and the interview I had there with no, or before that with Dan Mother. And I should release a game in a few minutes on itch.io, a brand new one-page game, which is a translation from a Spanish game. So I'm venturing and widening my language skills. No, I'm doing Spanish to English. It's Shakespeare in Roll. So it's a one-page RPG to play Shakespeare plays, to improvise them. It's a diceless system, and I find it quite cool.
Holy.
So come check it out on my itch.io store, as well as my game, of course, Paris Gondo, the life-saving magic of inventorying. Um, what's your goodbye? What else? Where can people find you, and so on, Jack?
Yes, you can find us on Moonsoon at Moonsoon2 on Twitter. Of course, in Facebook, which you can find us as Moonsoon as well. We also have a Discord channel where you can get the latest news about the Kickstarter, the crowdfunding that's coming, and of course, also thanks to Caleb, hopefully opportunities to playtest. Hopefully,
Yeah,
I'm still crossing my fingers these days, but yes.
and thanks to Sin for getting us in touch for
Oh
making this
yeah.
happen.
And thanks to Damoder for the very warm words in the chat. Thank you so much.
And the question we did not answer, sorry. You need to show up earlier in the stream. But yeah, I need to send you a message then, mother. I should get a copy of Paris Gondo your way, so maybe you could play a session with people on your side. That would be cool. Yeah, thank you so much, Jack, and best wishes of success with your project. And I will try to look around if there are other people more seasoned in D&D than I am who can have you on the show and you can ask about bonus to abilities and all the nitpicking associated with 5e.
Thank you so much, Caleb. This has been a very good moment for us in our day. Just to be able to nerd out with you is really cool. Thank you.
Cheers, thanks everyone, bye.